back to Red Hawk Media. Today, we're getting rid of extra sound. Okay? That pesky background noise that creeps into every video, the fuzz, the hum, the Bailey Valentines of your life, basically anything that's annoying in the background. Pretty much what we want to do is we want to get rid of it. Okay? So we've got a clip selected that's in the bottom here. And this clip has got some audio, and the audio is just like this. It's a tutorial. And one of the things that usually happens is I get background noise, and I get these nasty hisses and hums because I have this cheap mic that I work on. Regardless, we can clean that up. One of the easy things that's built into Final Cut is a hum reducer and a noise reducer. First step, though, we got to analyze some audio. So select your clip, go up to the audio tab. And now I've already done the audio analysis. You'll want to do this. You're going to click on the arrow and it will start analyzing immediately. Now you'll have these little spinny wheels that will be going over here next to loudness, background noise removal, and hum removal. And what you'll find out is whether or not you have any problem areas. Now Final Cut is definitely an imperfect solution to this. It doesn't tell you everything that you need to know, and it is not 100% accurate on what is background noise and what is voice. So you got to be very careful with this process. To begin with, if you've got a lot of background noise like ventilation, sound of some loud machinery, things like that, best thing you can do, select the background noise removal. Now this works in percentages, and it takes a little bit of processing power here. So apply the change, give it a little bit, make sure it's rendered, and then listen to it. If you apply too much of a change to it, what will happen is you will end up with a garbled, echoey voice effect, and we want to avoid that. So small changes work best for this. Now I've just got a little bit of a hum in the background, and I've got this high pitch frequency that's kind of annoying, so I'm just dialing up to 10%, and then you go back to your clip and you go ahead and give it a listen. So the title does not have to be centered. You can move the location of it, the color. You get the idea. Okay, so that's kind of how you can clean up that audio, is just with this slider. Now if that wasn't enough, go ahead, dial it up a little bit. The moment you start to hear that sonic, electronic, garbled sound, you've gone too far. Be careful with that because it sounds very fakey when you do that. Now if you've got kind of electronic hum coming from a camera or the mic that you're recording on, you can use this. If you don't, it will add echo to your clip. So you got to be careful with this one too. I don't have that problem, so I'm going to take that off of there. Now this is one quick way in Final Cut that we can clean up some audio, but it's basically useful for already very clean audio where you have minimal problems. If you have a bigger problem that you want to get rid of, best way you can go about that is actually move into Adobe Audition. So let's talk about that really quick. I want to get my audio out of Final Cut and I want to move it over to Audition. So one of the things I can do is, if I've exported this movie already, I can use that clip, or I can always go up to File, and I can share just the audio of this. So if I go into the settings, I can go to, for my format, instead of audio and video, which is normally up there, I'm going to switch it up to audio only. Now I can choose which kind of file I want to work with, and you got AAC, AC3, AIFs, CAIFs, MP3s, and WAV files. So if you want to change it up, feel free. I'm going to leave it as this, and then you click Next, and you export. I've already done this process, so we're going to go over to Adobe Audition. So I'm going to bring that up very quickly. Now in Adobe Audition, what I can do is open up any of those files. It just so happens that I already exported this file, so I'm going to go to Open, and I'm going to locate the problem clip, and that happened to be this video. So you can open videos too and correct the audio, and I click Open. Okay, once you've opened up that project, whatever it may be, it shows up in your project folder here. This is very similar to Premiere, very similar to After Effects, and we've got experience in those already. If you don't, you look for your file that you want to correct the audio on here. And then what you can do is, we've got the whole listing of the audio, and it's kind of all smushed together here. The problem areas for this particular audio are, it's between the talking. So we want to stretch this out so we can actually see those portions. So I go ahead and click in here. And then at the bottom, you'll see some tools here. You can magnify the waveform so you can see how that works. Okay, don't need to do that. I'm going to stretch out the in time part of this though. We're just going to take that out like this so we can see between any of the words when there's no talking, actually. And that's when I have the biggest problem with the background hiss, the ventilation, and a number of other things. If you're doing a documentary, this is probably where you're going to have issues too. If you get wind noise between talking, this is a great way to get rid of that or kind of take it down a little bit. So what I'm going to do is, or what I've done is I've highlighted an area in between the talking, being very careful to only get the dead space in here. Now I'm going to go up to Clip, and I'm going to go to Effects, and go to Noise Reduction or Restoration, and I'm going to capture this noise print. Okay, it says this, that'll pop up each time. Click OK, just saying that basically this will be my noise print for the next time it launches. And now I've got that noise print. It knows what it's looking for in my whole track. I can go back up to Effects, and I can go to Noise and Reduction again. And this time I'm going to go to Noise Reduction Process. Now once I bring that up, I get this cool little histogram here of everything that's going on with my sound. Now it already gives you some kind of pre-made selections here. If I want to, I can go ahead and I can click play down here, and it will play over and over the part that's up here. And I can listen for any mistakes or any sounds that are in there that shouldn't be in there, and it's giving me an idea of how much noise is actually being reduced. And then again, you got to listen for that electronic garbly kind of sound here. Now once I get these settings tweaked to what is appropriate for my clip here, I'm going to go ahead and push stop, and then I'm going to select the entire file. So anytime it comes across that noise print between your talking, it's going to noise reduce it. Okay, so now that I've selected that, I can click Apply. Okay, and that cleans up everything. Now I can go back to that area. You can see it's completely flatlined now. There's no activity whatsoever going on there. If I blow up the waveform there, you can see, yeah, it's completely empty of any sound whatsoever. Okay, now that looks good. However, I should give a listen to everything else to make sure that there's no problems in here. This is where you listen for the garbly sound, anything that sounds electronic. If that's the problem, then you have reduced the sound too much. Okay, you want to make sure that you don't do that in the first place before you apply the effect to the clip, because it is destructive. I'd have to go Command Z, and then I'd have to go back to that particular step to undo it. Okay, so it gives you an idea. Now, I've got the clip all fixed. I need to get it out of here, so I can go up to File. Okay, I can go to Export, and then I want to export the file, and then I'll just drag this new file back into Final Cut Pro. So I can choose what I want to export exactly here. Let's just go with an MP3 because that's nice and friendly. And then if I want the settings to be super high quality, I can go in and change those. We're just going to stick with this for now. And now I go ahead and click OK. It's going to export the file. Okay. And yes, it's just warning me that I'm going to lose a little bit of the quality on it because I chose MP3. So if I didn't want to do that, I'd want to export it as an AAC. Alright, so you get the idea of a little bit of noise reduction. At this point, it's pretty self-explanatory. I would go back over to Final Cut. I would drag that new sound clip in underneath, line it up, make sure that everything's all good to go. And then, from there, we've got clean sound with no background noise. Nothing whatsoever that could possibly annoy you, like a hiss, a Bailey Valentine, anything like that. And it's an ideal situation, and everybody's happy. And we've got great sounds, the sounds of silence. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Red Hawk Media.